Hey guys, welcome back to Evolve or Die. Today on this channel, we're gonna dive into the London hard fork EIP 1559 update. And because there's a lot of things that are circulating about the impact of this update and as well as the impact on miners that are just simply not true in a lot of cases and are exaggerated in a lot of cases. We're super excited about this update. It's going to cause so many improvements to volatility of the Ethereum network and the predictability when it comes to determining what your gas fees and your transaction fees are going to look like. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how EIP 1559 works, what's the purpose of it, and its effects that it's going to have on the network as well as we, the investors. So essentially, if you interact with Ethereum in any capacity, whether it's minting NFTs, whether it's just sending ETH peer-to-peer, whether it's converting other ERC20 tokens into ETH, if you have any interaction with the Ethereum blockchain, you probably know that it's literally the most expensive one to use. Users pay about $5 million a day in transaction fees simply to interact with Ethereum, in any of those ways that we talked about. And 28% of this amount, 1.5 million, is spent by individuals and businesses on Bitcoin, which is, as we know, the largest crypto project by market cap. So yeah, guys, let's dive right in. Essentially, the design of EIP 1559 is designed to have, like we talked about, many positive effects on the network in terms of predictability. So what I mean by that is if you mint NFTs, for instance, or like we talked about interacting with the Ethereum network in any way, you'll notice that the gas fees vary based on what time of the day it is. It based on how clogged the network is, how many people are interacting with the network at that time, and how quickly you want your transaction to be processed by the miners. So all of those play a factor into determining what your gas fees look like. And this update is to minimize that volatility and the drastic differences that we see in gas fees, like literally from minute to minute. At times when I'm minting NFTs, if I log on at a certain hour, it could be like literally 40% more the gas fee for the transaction than if I log on a little bit later. So this update is going to be focusing a lot on that volatility as well as burning a lot of the gas fees when they are transacted. So something that you guys are going to hear a lot of people saying that this is the update that's going to push Ethereum into a deflationary asset. And Ethereum is well on its way to becoming a deflationary asset after that Ethereum 2.0 level 2 layer 2 scaling rolls out. But what we're seeing right now with this update and the supply of Ethereum is going to be limited. It is going to be decreased because of the burning of the gas fees in these transactions. However, it's going to become a decreased inflationary asset before it becomes a deflationary asset. So what does that mean is that right now we're seeing Ethereum as a hedge to inflation at a lower rate than it has been in the past. So that's really exciting. I'm super bullish on Ethereum. I'm so excited. But a lot of people are circulating that it's going to become a deflationary asset, which it is, but I don't think we're going to see that transition with this update just yet. So next, we're going to talk about how EIP 1559 works and how the current transaction mechanisms of Ethereum work and how this upgrade of London hard fork is going to improve a lot of the problems that we Ethereum users have with the network fees. So we know that if you interact with Ethereum, we know that the gas fees are determined by the user. previously to this update. And you could essentially choose what gas fee you wanted to pay in order to create a sense of priority for the miners to mine your block. So for instance, it's very similar to a regular bank transaction fee, or if you use Venmo. So if you use Venmo, you can instantly deposit for a fee, or you can wait 3 days for the money to deposit into your account for no fee at all. So Ethereum operated similarly to a degree before this EIP 1559 update. So the miners that execute the smart contracts and are processing all of the transaction on Ethereum, they're essentially competing with each other for the transactions that have the most urgency, i.e. those people that have chosen the higher transaction fees, the higher gas fees. So they will have priority when it comes to mining the blocks. And why is that? Because there are rewards attached to mining, and the miners want to maximize the possible rewards which follow the higher transaction fees. So there's essentially this competition that's going on between the miners that leads them to prioritize the people that have paid the high gas fees, naturally, because it's a mutually beneficial relationship in terms of the miner will have higher rewards, and the person on the other end, the other person that initiated the transaction, is going to have a faster processed transaction. So that was previously how the Ethereum transactions were sorted through and processed and verified. So now that we have this EIP 1559 update, we no longer have the competition between the mining of blocks. This EIP 1559 update is essentially replacing that auction type of transaction decision making. So we now have a base fee, and essentially the base fee is just the minimum gas fee that you're going to be required to pay in order to complete any transaction on Ethereum underneath this update. And it is going to still fluctuate based on how much space is within each block on the Ethereum network. But with this update as well, the EIP 1559 update would allow block sizes to increase up to twice the size of the transactions that the previous blocks were able to be mined within before the update. So with this update, each block can have twice the transactions as previously. So that's really great. And that's also part of that move towards scalability, that move towards a deflationary asset. You know, when you get your transactions per second up higher and higher, and we're just moving in a really great direction with Ethereum. And now we're going to talk about the burn mechanism and the inclusion fee. That is literally the most exciting part about this update, is the burning fee. So that base fee that we just talked about, instead of that auction miner approach, we now have a base fee for all Ethereum transactions. And that base fee can only be paid in Ethereum. So once that base fee is paid, that base fee is permanently burned from the circulating supply of Ethereum. And the reason for that is because burning the base fee essentially removes the incentive for miners to keep the gas fees artificially high, and in turn congesting the network. So this is really great for the users, and it's really great for the Ethereum holders, because, you know, we're decreasing that circulating supply. We're burning off these base fees, and because the base fee is burned, any payments for the base fee by the users puts downward pressure on the supply, i.e. just decreasing the supply and diminishing the supply. And the inclusion fee is optional in EIP 1559, and it's intended to be used only by people with businesses requiring the fastest network confirmation times and filtering of non-zero paying transactions. So now that we know a little bit more about the update, we know a little bit more about how it works. What's the purpose of it? What was the purpose of this Ethereum improvement proposal 1559? What was it? So the main reason that this update was proposed and introduced is to provide a counterbalance against the increasing Ether supply. So when you compare Ethereum to Bitcoin in terms of supply, Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million Bitcoin that'll ever be in circulation, that'll ever exist, period. Ether, on the other hand, 2 new coins are issued into circulation every time a block is mined on Ethereum. So what this means is that the Ethereum supply is increasing. And what happens when that Ethereum supply increases is all of the Ethereum holders now have slightly diminished value in all of their Ethereum. So all individual holdings are becoming slightly diluted over time as more of those assets become available to trade and become more available in circulation. So with this EIP 1559 update, the burning mechanism essentially it's putting in place a very programmatic way to take coins out of circulation after they've already been issued to kind of offset that supply increase. So it's a brilliant idea to offset the devaluing of the coin. It is going to still produce those 2 ethers, but at the same time, the supply is being mitigated as well through these burning inclusions and burning mechanisms. So this is really exciting. And as of May of 2021, the annual issuance rate on Ethereum is roughly 4%, and Bitcoin has decreased to about 1.8% following the network's programmed supply rate reduction last year. So it's really exciting stuff here, guys. We have the design of EIP 1559 literally designed to prevent economic abstraction. Ether is well on its way to becoming a major hedge against inflation. It's already an amazing asset class for investing, but this is not financial advice either. I'm not a financial. And like we talked about earlier, the EIP 1559 update is designed to play a huge role in reducing the volatility of the network fees. So that's really exciting, guys. And next we're going to talk about more on the impact on investors that it's going to have. We talked a little bit about how, decreasing that circulating supply is going to in turn, offset the fact that there are new ether that can be placed into circulation. So we have that counterbalance. We have that offset of inflation with the deflationary approach. So that's really exciting. And so what is that? What effect is this going to have on, we as investors, in a more in-depth sense, and the effects that's going to have on the network, guys? A lot of Ether investors evaluate the impact of this update with, there's 3 primary upsides to this update, which we've already covered. The use of decentralized applications. We're going to have improved transaction times. We're going to see less volatility. We're going to see more predictability when it comes to how much exactly you're going to pay for your gas fees. We're going to see a similar move towards the Bitcoin structure with that decreasing supply with the burning mechanism. So there are potential risk factors, and similar to, an SEC filing, a 10K filing, with these EIP proposals, you have to essentially provide the risks that may be associated with implementing your update or implementing your proposal. Excuse me. And one of those potential risk factors is the risk of miner attrition as a result of the reduction in miner rewards. So this could lead to a miner revolt or a contentious hard fork. And that simply means, so like we talked about earlier, guys, this implementation of a burning mechanism as well as a base fee is really great for the ETH users and the people that interact with the user face, but it has in turn reduced a lot of incentive for the miners, because previously to this update, like we also talked about, there was sort of an auction. There was sort of like an auction type approach to determining what blocks they were going to mine first, like what transactions are they going to accept first based on the gas fee that those people chose to pay. So it's kind of reducing incentive for miners. So that may pose a very real issue to the ETH network, because if the miners decide to stop mining our transactions because there's less incentive and there's diminished rewards, then we're gonna see some interesting things happening with the network. But that is just a potential risk factor, and it's highly unlikely that something like that would happen. But there's also the risk of disappointing the developers and end users by failing to deliver promised fee market improvements. So again, that's kind of like what we just went into, that, you know, diminishing the incentive for miners, but in turn making the network more usable and more feasible and like more sustainable to use. And there are some technological risks. What we'll see that with any update, we'll see technological factors with any software update, any kind of EIP update like this, in the form of bugs, potential hacks, as well as accidental chain splits. So that essentially, they're very, very, very unlikely to happen because of all the upside that we're gonna see for Ethereum as an entire network. I don't see these happening. But EIP 1559, guys, it could burn a lot of ETH's annual supply increase. So that's the main thing that we're excited about, is that burning mechanism. You know, we're gonna have a deflationary asset in the very near future. You know, they're realizing that one of the reasons that Bitcoin has that intrinsic value to investors is because of its scarcity. And with this burning mechanism, ETH is going to become more scarce, and the exact polar happens when you increase the supply versus when you're decreasing the supply. So when we talked about earlier, all the ETH holders that are holding ETH with an increasing supply over time will see the devaluation of their assets. But with the burning mechanism, we're going to see the complete opposite. We're going to see the increase in value. We're going to see, you know, ETH becoming more scarce. We're going to see a limited supply. So this is really great for the investors, this update. And I'm going to leave a link down below to the article that explains a lot of this in great detail. It is the investment implications and the improvements of the EIP proposal 1559. It's a great read, and I encourage you all to look through it. And if you have any questions or any suggestions or thoughts, you guys can leave them down for me in the description or in the comments below. And yeah, guys, I don't have a book of the week for you guys this week. Like I said, I've been really busy this week, and I hope everyone is doing well out there. I've had a really busy week. I got a new job. I got engaged. We've been really busy. But we know that the crypto space never sleeps, guys, and keep evolving. I'm going to have some stock market updates for you guys this week too. And yeah, keep evolving.